I'm just following the department overview sheets, and if there's specific things in the line items, I'll touch a couple things in each budget. But overall, Parks and Rec, we maintain 114 acres, 67 acres of special areas. Fire station, city hall, those are the special areas that we take care of. Accomplishments were Counts Kingdom, trail at the golf course, sports field, acquired the Paul Shaden property. And then the additional trails moving forward, and you'll see we had a proposal for that last meeting, and pickleball courts. Hopefully this next summer, next fall, we'll get a facility going with that. Revenue, the reestimate, if you see miscellaneous revenues, $9,000. Some of that was we had hired Scott Parcher to come back for the Merchants Field, and the both schools and Merchants gave us a little over $2,000 to help offset Scott's cost. Scott's cost was right a little over $8,000, and we really just focused on the Merchants season and the baseball season. If we started them a little bit early and we finished them a little bit later of each season, we didn't include that. We figured that would have been stuff we would have done with the parks people anyway, and it just worked out well to have Scott do those things. So it should be listed. We'll change that on the 2021 now because we weren't sure Scott was coming back, and we got information today that he will come back next season. So we'll do the same thing again, approach the schools and Merchants for each one of us putting in a fourth 25%. Personnel expenses, obviously those go up with the raises, the cost of living raises, and insurance. Services and commodities is down a little bit. That, I guess I didn't notice that at first. I'll go back. The capital is pretty much the same. So overall, the budget is relatively same as before. Let's go through these sheets, and then we'll touch that specific area.
Jack, I know what it is. It's the Emerald Ash Borer.
Okay.
We've been setting the money aside each year for that, and I'm showing roughly about 150,000, 140-some thousand in the reestimates for fiscal 20.
And not carrying it over.
And then 25,000 for the next year,
Okay.
and then whatever we don't spend this year, we'll just keep pushing that forward as this whole project keeps progressing along.
Yep, and we just did have bids for the MRS 4. You'll have on the council meeting Monday night, so we are starting to spend some of those funds with that. The personnel 7.09, full-time 6.09. The difference is last budget we had in there for another full-time person. We have removed that from the budget. We're doing well with the staff that we have. We feel pretty comfortable. And the part-time staff, so that's been working well. The capital requests, typical things that Parks and Rec needs to keep their operations going year to year: mower, tractor, trailer, seeder, skid loader, and a 36-inch stand-up mower. That is something we haven't done before, but we really feel like the downtown area around the new library, city hall, that's just going to be easier to mow with a stand-up mower, and I think the guys will like that. We've tried them out, and it seems like something that they'll enjoy, make it a little bit easier. Bringing in those 72-inch mowers, driving them around. So that will be the Parks and Rec, or the Parks budget of our Parks and Rec budget. Specific things, one thing we do have in repair and maintenance is the wall, $30,000 for the wall. And this is in the budget 23100 line item specifically. The wall at Slow Pitch, if you've been down by the Slow Pitch field, that wall's really bowing. It needs repairs. We need to bring it back. We need to dig out the dirt, push the wall back in, fix it, and reline it. It's starting to show its deterioration and aging. So that's the real big thing in that budget. That's $30,000 we're anticipating to do this July, August.
So you do that after the season?
Yeah. Bob does have a little work that he'd like to have help with this year, and we'll be able to do that. Sidewalk around the concession stand is showing age and wearing. We have money and budgets to do those small projects with them.
Okay.
Any other questions with the parks?
Any thought of like shelter house maintenance type stuff or anything like that?
We have our typical maintenance. We did do some repairs last year to Southside Shelter House, and there's still some things we need to get done. The shelter house to the that'd be the southeast corner, the outdoor bathrooms. We had to do major underground repair of the sewer line at that. That was unexpected. I mean, we knew it was aging and that, but you never know for sure when something like that's going to go. And so we spent $5,000 or $6,000 last year repairing that. It was a pretty big deal. It took some time to dig that out. But as far as the shelter houses, no, we have not any funds or anything that we've decided on. The main two enclosed shelter houses, yes, we've had discussions. It'd be nice to Graham Park to bring those restrooms. They're outside. Those restrooms are really for the shelter house, but you got to go outside and use those restrooms. Bring those inside. The air conditioning and heating down at Southside's a big hit, so we'll probably need to do something with
I've had
Graham.
some people request that maybe at the Graham Park one sometime too.
Yeah. If I remember off the top of my head, it was about $3,500 to do Southside air conditioning, and Graham's just slightly bigger overall size of it. So, something we could look at least put it on our list. And
Okay.
you know, last night at our Parks Rec board, I told the committee again, I'm like, you guys, you know, you're part of this voice. Make sure you let us know these things you want to see and be a part of our planning. So that's good. We can definitely add that to the list.
Okay.
And again, a year-round shelter at Graham Park. If we decide someday we want to spend a significant amount of money to redo that, so it's a year-round shelter, we're going to need storage for our mowers. We have mowers and tractors from the golf course and parks in there right now, so they can move around in the winter and do stuff. They do all the maintenance of those mowers and then move them down there. So.
Don't you have some room in the maintenance garages? New maintenance garage?
Well, there's gonna be a lot of equipment that we're moving from outdoors to indoors.
I was just gonna say too, the golf cart storage, I think that's, as a budget item, like 4 or 5 years. You know, if it draws out that long, that's potential too, is, you know, parking in the aisles when people aren't using golf carts during winter.
If you get that alternate on that city maintenance garage with the 2 extra bays, would there be some open space in the old maintenance garage for some of the storage, Randy? You know?
There isn't much. It's
Okay.
mostly programmed for that equipment that's currently
It's
outside.
sitting outside, okay,
That's kind of the way it is right now.
okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah. Everyone good with parks? Okay. Golf courses next. We have the 2 full-time employees maintaining an 18-hole public golf course. The new patio cover on the east side. A lot of people have mentioned how they like that when they still want to be outside during the warmer months, but they have that shade now that they can be outside and have that cover, so they have enjoyed that. Irrigation system upgrades is still something, a big project that we have, and we have that listed in the budget. We're financing that over a couple of years, and once we get the money allocated through these budgets, we'll do that work at the irrigation system. The pump station, basically taking off the outside of the building, taking out the guts that's in that building, pulling it up, putting new guts in. It's basically one of the major projects. It's a whole unit, is how Scott explains it to us. So we're saving. This is our second year that we have in the budget. and we'll continue, and once we get a little bit closer, that'll be definitely a project that is a huge benefit for our golf course. Revenue, we pretty much stayed the same. Golf cart rentals, golf course, depending on weather. A lot of times you have a really wet spring that affects the end of the year budgets. Early snow in the fall that plays a little bit on our revenues. We're pretty consistent. If I show you, you see a 20-year trend. We're pretty close to being in those realms. The expenses are pretty close to the same. The capital outlay is up a little bit this year. We've had the pump station we're taking out of general fund money, but we have a greens mower again. We generally try to get 2,500 hours out of our mowers. I believe this is the one we've had a little bit more trouble with. It's a little bit newer. Scott's had some struggles with repairs and getting some things done with that. So we're trading that one a little bit earlier. The 100-inch mowers, as staffing, and it's getting harder to get people that want to, work part-time and want to commit to a 7-month part-time job in all the hot days. The 100-inch mower really helps us get up and down the fairways. And we've enjoyed the first one, and Scott would really like to get the second one. The pump station irrigation system, I've already touched on that. Fairway mower, trading off one of the older ones and moving them down into the system. So this will be a new one that we'll replace. And the pull behind mower, I have this in the golf course budget. It's actually the parks budget. Just noticed that today. It was one that we were eliminating earlier in the budget, but Mike and I, Laura, said we could bring something back in the budget. That's one of the items. A pull behind mower they use at the Witch Rock Hill when they're mowing. We mow that hill. That's quite a steep hill, and the mower behind gives a little bit more balance and makes it a little bit easier than if you have mowers out on the sides. Down by Rolling Hills Park, the Frisbee golf area, that taller grass, they like to use that pull behind mower down in that area. This last summer, they were able to mow that a lot more than what they had been. They'd been getting really tall, and this year, been able to hit that a little bit more, make it a little bit more enjoyable down there, and not lose as many frisbees and things like that. So that's a trade-off of a mower that we've had. So, and we'll move it over to the Parks Department.
I think you've had that mower a long time too, haven't you, Jack?
I think so. Yeah. And I'm being honest, that hill is hard. If you ever walk that hill, can you imagine being on a mower trying to do that? And we used to do it twice a year, but Witch Rock was really after, hopefully, to get us a little more. So we do it about 4 or 5 times a year. We do the outsides, it's part of our routine, but that middle part, you can tell it's high grass, but if you would cut it down, it's really tough.
And it helps finish at that intersection of 71 where it really looks better.
Yeah.
Hey Jack, quick question on revenues. You just mentioned that it's pretty much the same as it has been the last 20 years or whatever.
Mhm.
So I guess my question is, has the golf course always lost money? I don't know if that's
We have.
general, is that normal?
Generally, we've lost money. Probably my first 10 years, we were really close. 1 year we'd be over, 1 year we'd lose money. And some of that depended on our capital items. If we got a mower bought and we had to wait over. Our loss is getting greater because we've had money to trade off and do things sooner than we had in the past. Just to be frank, honest with you, you're giving us opportunity to update and renew our equipment sooner. We're able to do more things, irrigation systems, aerifiers in the ponds. So we have those opportunities because the money is available.
I guess my thought was, is there any way to increase the revenues? I mean, I think we've talked once or twice about maybe creating a co-op with some other local golf courses so that maybe you could charge a little more if the people had 3 or 4 other places to go golf at. I
Right.
just was curious if any of that had been looked at, or if, have people asked you about it, or?
Well, we've had residents, citizens, just this past year come to me and said, would you participate in a card or a program that if they purchase this card for $100, and we'd get our portion, or $200 that they could play here at the country club, and do some marketing, things like that. And I said, yeah, we would participate. We basically need $35 to have 18 holes and half a cart to really justify. So some of those things we're doing. We get involved with some other programs through the state, but no, other than those two items.
Because you guys are still running your ladies' night and men's night.
Yep.
What do you call it? Men's and
Men's
women's
league. Yes.
Meaning your weekends are all scheduled with different things going on.
And a lot of those, like I'll use the Thursday night men's league. What we require them is to have a membership, and anything after that is clubhouse for the most part.
Mm.
Food and beverage is all the clubhouse, but we don't get any other kickbacks or anything other than they're a member and they're on our course. And some people, when I golf league, there would be times I knew I had to have a league membership. I had to buy a membership. I bought it and I just golfed league night. I played 16 weeks and that was it. So you will see some of those. So right away you think, well, we're not getting anything out of those leagues. We do. I mean, we're getting some memberships of people just playing league night, 9 holes on league night. So there's probably some more. We do through Parks and Rec. We do a junior tournament. We do a senior tournament, and we'll pay for the round of golf. But any money above that will get put in leisures or appropriate budget for the money.
How big is the junior tournament?
It varies. We used to have 50, 60. I think last year we were in the 30s, 30, 35. It really depends. Just similar to all of our league programs. How active are that grade, those grades. You have one year where you're very heavy 5th, 6th grade soccer, 3rd and 4th down. And then
Yeah.
Hey Jack, where does Brenda's salary fall in?
that would be under contract. That would be
Fees, club manager.
Fleece Club Manager, yep. Under the services and commodities. 28,000. I think her contract's like 26,000. But the last payment we deduct the bill for some of the services that we have to get, electric, cable, water. So that gets taken out of that last pay we pay her.
Is there a reason it's not on the, what I wanna call cover sheets? Or am I not seeing it?
The summary.
It's in the services line.
It's just under service. That's something I could
It's
add.
embedded, okay.
Yeah, it's embedded in there.
Yeah, it's in
There,
there.
then you can go back to
Yep. Definitely, that's a good point. That's something I could highlight somewhere in this budget sheet. Contract services, clubhouse manager is this amount.
Yeah, what
Good point.
caught my attention was when we're talking employees, 2 full-time employees, and I know she's not an employee, but, so I just wonder where that fell in at.
Sure.
Thank you, very good.
One thing I'd point out is, you look at the deficit we have for this year and even this coming up budget year, there is a lot of costs with the irrigation. I mean, that's a high number. Does this include local option sales tax component too? Or
That'll
just-
be in the local option sales tax fund, so it's not within the general fund portion.
So, so we're funding part of it through general fund, part of it through local option sales tax. So, I mean, that's an expense that wouldn't be normal and customary. I just highlight that.
And we're probably 2 seasons, I say 2021 and 2022 with the golf carts, and we'll be trading them off again. Last time we did that, council made the decision to just buy them instead of doing the lease. And that'll be a $50,000, $60,000 trade when we do that. And again, golf cart rentals is about $100,000 every year. So those are definitely things that
How much does it cost to rent golf carts?
we generate about $100,000 a year just for golf cart rentals. When we rent the golf carts all
Oh, when
season.
you rent, okay, I thought you were telling me to rent them for the golf course was
No.
30, 40 of them was $100,000.
No.
Okay.
No.
Would you recommend moving forward purchasing, say, in that model, instead of leasing golf carts?
I would say we'd still purchase them. We might get away from the brand. We've had a little bit more trouble with this round than we've had, and there's some other options. But the one option, and I probably will throw out at the time at the budget, if we feel like we have 15 that are really bad, maybe we do it over a 2-year period. Trade off 15 by 15, and then do the next year. If the budget, we can do it all in 1 year. It's going to be about 50,000 by the time we buy them at 100,000. They give us a trade in on those other ones about 50,000. Then that'll be the net. So
You know, go ahead.
The GPS system that's on them, will those transfer from these carts to new ones, or is that something that's included?
that is a different little contract we have with To the Green, which is about 22,000, 2,500. He'll probably just pop them off, put on new ones, and renegotiate. You know, whatever his cost is, he's pretty fair. If he sells them for $300, we'll have 30 of them, so 9,000 divided over a 3-year period is usually, he's been pretty fair. And he's out of Omaha now, but just talking with Scott Hawkinson the other day, I said, if we ever need to cut budgets, how about we cut the GPS? He goes, I don't want to hear it. I think we hear a lot from the golfers. They really enjoy that.
They can buy those little handheld ones now.
Yeah.
Why is somebody else?
We'll see. Feed the bear. Feed the bear.
Well, that's a good question, too.
Rent a watch.
You know, to the point, when we were talking about this pump station, going back to tab C, page 26, you can see very quickly that the, you know, the general fund and loss thing, we're looking at over $200,000 on that system alone over the course of 2 years.
That doesn't take into account fiscal year 20 and additional funds there either.
And one thing, it is the pump house, but also it's every sprinkler head on the course. We're replacing those too. So there's quite a bit gonna be done with that project.
Is that work that we're gonna do ourselves, Jack, or do we contract that out?
We'll contract it out. We'll be very familiar with it, but it'd be nice if we had the staff to do it. But just the time, you know, when would you do it?
Well, as Misty was asking good questions about the revenue side of the golf course, I was looking at the expense side, there's a 100-inch green mower in there. I really see huge synergies in that, I'm familiar with that equipment, and, you know, you start looking at an aging staff, and then your part-time guys getting further and fewer between, and it really saves time when you go to 100-inch instead of 72.
Yeah. And then we do so many things, you know, our golfers over the years, the greens, we take one of these greens mowers that's used when we put a collar cutter on it, so it comes right down. There's no lip anymore on the green, or a very small one. Those are just things we didn't do 15, 20 years ago that, you know, we want to keep trying to attract people. And here's a new job duty, and we're not adding staff necessarily, but someone goes out and does that weekly, every 2 weeks probably, takes that collar cut out and cuts it. So they take great pride in what they do. The one thing we haven't addressed at the golf course that could be coming down in the next few years is the outdoor bathrooms up there. Probably need to really look at doing some work to those. That's one concern or suggestion we get are the outdoor bathrooms out there. The public ones. Yeah.
Well, you're not talking about the bush at the end of 7, are you?
No.
That thing might be getting a little weak. Stop it.
Jeez, that's a terrible visual.
Stop it.
Moving on to the rec center, Jack?
Please. Golf course?
Yeah.
No. No? Okay. Carroll Rec Center. Memberships provide recreational opportunities for individuals and families. 24-hour access, the ADA entrance were the accomplishments last year. And obviously the big one coming forward that we're all excited about is talking about the recreation center building improvements. Our revenue is up compared to 4 or 5 years ago. We were in the upper 300s. We're consistently getting about 400,000. Some of that is people buying memberships instead of doing the punch cards, and some of the things, all of you are on the council, and I told you we have a way for someone to get into our facility. I just want to come once a month. Okay, well, we'll do this for you. We eliminated a lot of that with the Norm Johnson report, the Y report, and that was a great thing we've done. We really condensed memberships. You have a membership, and our memberships are very inexpensive. So 435,000. I anticipate that will be achieved again this year. Expenses, personnel expenses, up a little bit just with staffing as far as our full-time staff with the cost of living raises, and personnel for the rec center. 30% of my salary. Joel's salary, Andy's salary is about a third. Bob is 100% out of there. But the two that are interesting is Joel or Grant and Pam. They're out of leisure services. They're housed out there. They do some things at the rec center, but their salaries are out of leisure. With that, services, commodities, we've seen an increase just over the last few years with Mid-American's new rates for electricity. So those have gone up 10, 15,000 a year compared to where we were at previously. It's a 42-year-old building, so we're having to put more money in for repair and maintenance of different things. So capital outlay, again, similar to our other budgets, we budget for what we need for the next year. So one year we might need to do some things that we don't have to do the next year, and I'll get into that here in a second. The authorized personnel going up 0.50. That's really going to be the building supervisor. What we want to do, I think I've mentioned this to you previously, is in the evenings, really during the school year time frame, the winter months when people are in there more, say from 4 to 8 o'clock, we would have a building supervisor to help the control desk person with just being so busy. The control room desk is answering phone calls, doing things at the counter. Then they're trying to go back and get towels that we need to get to wipe down equipment. They're just overwhelmed. So we really need that second person. And our hopes is we get someone that we can bring in and get them to be a certified pool operator. So when the lifeguard comes and says, hey, the numbers are off, they usually call Andy, they call Jess, and sometimes Andy comes in from Halber to work on things. Hopefully this person can troubleshoot a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit higher pay than what a control desk is. We're going to have them certified as a pool operator and know some of those basic things to avoid those calls for our full-time staff on Saturday and Sunday and having to come in, quite often. Andy, hats off to Andy and that staff. They're called a lot of weekends and they do a lot. And, they come in and they try to take care of what they need to. So that's our hopes with that. And just with maintaining the gymnasium, if there's questions or concerns happening in there in the hallways, they're going to answer the questions. They're going to be trained pretty well to answer a lot of questions that we're able to answer. So that is our hope, and that's why it's increased 0.50. We're able to show in the budget that it still fits in our budget to do something like that. One other thing, we fit in the lifeguard area, and the part-time is to have a head lifeguard. We want to have 3 head lifeguards. We can still fit it into what we're asking in this budget to be available for the same thing. The control room person at 10 o'clock, there's not a guard that shows up. The control room person's calling, trying to find people. They're going to call the head lifeguard. Head lifeguard, that's going to be their weekend. They're coming in right away, and then they're helping, find that person. We're going to pay them a little bit more to have that title and have that that job duty. They're gonna come in on weekends, stop in to just check on the guards, make sure things are going well. Just another set of eyes. Joel, I, and Jess, we do it quite a bit, especially Joel and Jess. Right now, they take weekends, because they know they're gonna have calls, they're gonna have to come down, there's gonna be situations that requires them. And I think we could train the head lifeguard to do some of these things. We have them already at the outdoor pool during the outdoor season. They'll just transition to be the indoor. They're going to interview. They're going to have to apply for this. Capital requests, HVAC upgrades again, fitness equipment, and bathroom upgrades. The bathroom upgrades is the hallway the hallway bathrooms. Putting in new partitions, they're getting rusty, starting to look some age. We might be able to replace a sink or two, but just those hallway bathrooms need a little look to them. So this is probably something that's going to be.
Both bathrooms in the hallway? The ones up close to the control desk and the ones back by the, where they do Weight Watchers?
Yes.
Both of them.
Yep. Partitions are probably going to be one of the first things. The ones down by the hallway or by the activities room, sinks have been changed out already, so we're not having to do anything with that. But we just want to put $15,000 in to do some of those small improvements that we want to do into the bathrooms.
Are you looking to upgrade those partitions to like the hard plastic ones rather than metal?
I think so. Yeah, I had that exact same conversation with Andy. I said, we get that rust look, and we're not going to paint them. We're trying to cut out the rust. So let's look at the plastic. The only thing, we have the plastic ones at the aquatic center. They really show the water and some of the things. You really gotta, do the Mr. Clean or the magic erasers to them to get them to keep that, so they don't have that dull look. But that's part of our job, so we will do that. Yeah.
When you see reflection.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right on. Anything else with rec center? Obviously, we have our plan. Mike and I have been out the last 2 days talking to service groups and organizations. We did pick up one more person to be on the committee, so that's been good. Joel, I, and Mike have been working on information, trying to get that so we have a good plan, a good presentation to inform the people and help them give a good decision when they get a chance to vote in September.
Are we talking about the changes to the rec?
Yeah.
So we have a committee?
We're putting we have our
Oh, okay.
we have our committee.
Sorry.
He's gonna go over that as soon as Jack's done.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Sorry.
The fitness equipment you have in here, Jack, if I could backtrack real quick.
Yep.
What is that? Is that more cardio equipment?
Yeah. We've pretty much maxed out what equipment we can put in there, and I feel like we have a wide variety. We could easily, there's like a curved treadmill. We've talked about doing something like that. We really don't have room to add 2 more curved treadmills, and if we have, if we put one up, we gotta have one down. But yeah, it's just maintaining what we currently have and replacing treadmills. We have a lot of them with TVs, but the ones that don't have TVs are due to be replaced. And they're $4,500 to $6,000.
How's the weightlifting equipment doing?
It's amazing. Those machines are 20 years old. We check them routinely. We might have to replace a cushion or one of those stoppers, but they're in good shape. We've talked about starting to replace 3 or 4 of those, but they're solid. They're in really good shape, and we don't have much problem with those. Free weights, we're constantly changing out, benches and things like that.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe if you wanna talk about your rec center committee, I thought that's what he was gonna do. He's doing library stuff, so.
Okay.
Yeah, just.
Misty,
Sorry.
we have our committee that we did for the plan. We're anticipating some of them to be part of this next committee to get out to vote, the informational group. Some of our committees already said they're not interested in doing some of that. So Mike and I have reached out, and Carolyn's given us some names of individuals that we want to get on the phone to, this is the vote and this is the date, those things that they did for the library. That's our committee, but anyone that was on our original committee, is more than welcome to be on this, and I will reach out to them, but not all of them were interested. I talked to the swim team, I've mentioned to the swim team, you guys need to be a part of this. Well, were you sitting there that day at the table? Okay, down there, I walked up to them there meeting, I said, we're doing this pool renovation, we really need your support, and need you to get out there and inform people, so they have the right information, the correct information, and they said they would, so.
I was gonna say, so are one of them joining that group then, or at least?
None of them at this point said, I'm the one.
Alright.
And I've talked to Deb. I think there's one on there that was shaking her head. She works at the courthouse upstairs.
Okay.
So, I think.
Sorry, I thought that's what he was
Yeah.
gonna do, he's doing
That's okay.
library stuff, so.
Is that what you're asking
Yeah,
for?
It's printed somewhere and I missed it or didn't read it. I didn't realize that we had a group of people that had come together now. I just didn't know.
But we're trying to get the group
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's only so far the city can go at this
Yeah,
point. And it has been, I mean, Jack and I did go out to both Rotary and CADC this week. And, I think the reception actually has been fairly positive. I think people have a lot of questions, they want to learn more about it. I think with the financing the way it is, once we start explaining it, people understand it. It's just going to be a lot of education at this point.
Your part-time cleaning staff, you got one full-time person. You got 2,142 hours.
Yep.
That's more than 40 hours a week. 2080 is,
Yeah, 20. So it's 92 hours more, 82 hours more. So yeah, we could put 1.1 hours. Basically, what that is a 6-hour increments for 360 days. I think that's if you did 360 times 6 is how I came up with that. And generally, they don't work Christmas and New Year's days, but that's our nighttime cleaning staff. They get the locker rooms, the weight machines, and other things. They're great to have down there when there's recitals and things going on in the theater, because they kind of make sure everything gets out and everything's locked, so we don't have to keep our control room person there for some of those things.
Has it been cleaner in the restrooms now, since we?
There's been some work. We did soda blast the floors and the walls, and that seemed to help some. But yeah, they're trying to stay on that. And Joel's and the staff are walking the bathrooms a little bit more. We've had a few suggestions since, but I think we're addressing those as we get them. Laverne, you're in the showers. Did you think there was a difference with the soda blasting?
yeah, they're cleaner.
Okay.
Just-
$900 is what that cost us to have that done, and maybe it's something we do. Actually, we're gonna have him come back, and the brown part around the pool, he's gonna do that. He thinks he can get that off, so we'll get that done. We were gonna have him last Saturday, but we had a little storm, so we
Sure.
backed out. So
Jack, on your cleaning staff, do you think that's adequate? Are we just getting by? The reason I'm asking is I know what it took to maintain my gym. Mine
Yeah.
is a lot smaller presence, a lot less people, and I'm just amazed that they can get all that done. I mean,
Yeah.
the people that they do.
we're short. We're a little bit short. I think when we've talked of trying to get someone in mornings to go to white machines through the morning hours, and maybe just walk through bathrooms and make sure some of those things are done. Bob gets in there at 4:30 in the morning, and he starts, some of the things he does, and he's done by one or two. And Andy's there till 4, but we pull Andy off that was a position for the rec center, but he does a lot with public works. He'll do stuff for the police, library. I mean, he is the city building maintenance person. and he's an electrician. We're lucky to have him to do all the stuff he does, and so yeah, we're short. So we're trying to address it with trying to find someone in the mornings. We used to have someone in the mornings. We made the choice to eliminate that to cut back on some expenses. Probably wasn't the best decision we made, but we'll try to do that again. Thank you, though. That's a good question. Rec Center, anything else? Okay. I gotta move my pages down here. Next should be leisure. Like I alluded to, leisure services, Pam and Grant are the major components of that. A small portion of my salary, I think 15%, comes out of salaries with that. Leisure services, baseball, softball, soccer, fitness classes that are at the rec center still get put in leisure because it's an activity, it's a program. We try to associate all the programs with that. So 145,000 with that. Personnel services, again, Pam and Grant and me are the majority of the personnel costs. Services, commodities, a lot of program expenses. T-shirts for baseball, softball, soccer, all come out of that line item. When we need to replace nets, we need chalk, just some of those things for the leisure programs come out of there. So it's actually down 2,000. We went through that one line item, 250.65, and we're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this, so we eliminated some of those things to try to reduce it just a little bit. Again, rec program specialist, secretary, 10% of Jesse's salary comes out of that, and then mine. So part-time, we have one equivalent for fitness instructors, umpires, referees come out of that. No capital items out of that.
It's like football.
What's that?
It's like football.
Yep. Come out of that, yep. T-shirts, the balls, whatever we need. Yep, any of those programs. If you look at the more detailed budget, 250.65 is that line item. 15,000 of that right away is for shirts for program. But again, we turn around and get sponsors for a lot of the T-shirts. I know the guys the staff does a good job trying to get as many sponsors as possible. But
So I'm curious, the accomplishments from last year listed as baseball, softball, and soccer. So what constitutes an accomplishment?
Our numbers are up slightly. I think we're doing a little bit better job with umpires. We're trying to. Right now, we're in a Brita baseball league for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we're getting our umpires in uniforms. We're trying to make it so we want to play in Carroll. We want to have our games in Carroll. You're going to have before you Monday night the lights at the baseball stadium or at the baseball fields. I kind of alluded to we probably didn't have enough money and we're short a little bit of money, so we're going to be asking you for some support of that. And just the response from the surveys. Our surveys were positive on both programs. They thought some of the minor changes we made were good. Trying to avoid certain days because there might be a dance or the swim. Swimming during the summer is Tuesday, Thursday nights. We used to have, we need to decide where now we've kind of worked it out. So we avoid swing, if kids are in both programs that we can get them in everything. So, and again, going back to the lights, we did struggle. We had a scheduling challenge last year, so it'll be nice to have the lights.
If you do field 7, that would help alleviate some of the stress on your schedule. If,
The additional field?
the additional field.
Yes. Yep. And when we talked about last night to the Parks and Rec board, you gotta remember we added Little League or T-ball out there. It's just a nightmare for parking. And now we have more early games because we have those two fields. We need to have later games. The only way we can have later games is putting lights.
Gotcha.
I had an interesting phone call. Some residents out there doing spring and fall base or softball leagues. They're going to be more trying to bring stuff to Carroll rather than having to go to Ames and some of the other places. They do a great job, but let's keep our teams in southwestern or central western Iowa cities here. Let us be the hub. When we have lights, we're gonna be able to do stuff like that.
And they'll shut off.
Yeah. Now when the police call, Jack, lights field 6 are on, I can go right from my phone.
Yeah.
So, and turn them off. So. Anything with that? Anything else? Aquatic Center, we're seeing revenue dropping. Why? More things for kids to do. We probably need some new amenities. We probably need to do some things to attract those kids. Yes, a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old child of mine. Kids were actually at the pool. I'm bored of going down the speed slide. And we don't have necessarily anything in that budget, but I think that's the things we need to do. One of the items in our capital item that I'll get to, hopefully we'll have some more usage of the pool outside of the 1 to 7 time frame that we're open Monday through Friday. Hopefully we can start doing some earlier morning programming to do some things. I know the swim team's there in the mornings, but I think there's things that we can draw young families and people into to get a membership and to use the facility. So overall, the budget is down. Again, that's the capital items. Last year we had a pool heater, which is going to be installed here pretty soon, and we painted the pool. So those are two items that we won't have to do here for several years. So that's why the numbers are down. If you check personnel and services commodities, those are up slightly, as you would expect, just with cost of living and things are costing more. 2.7 part-time hours that accumulate to full-time. That's 8 guards, 2 concession people, pool manager. I think we estimate 75 days, which is high. I mean, we have rain day. We'll average about 8 to 10 rain days or weather-related closures. And now with school starting later, or going later than what it used to when we first opened, that does take some of that personnel expenses down. So here's our $35,100 for the capital items: water heaters, concession stand equipment, motor replacement. We've replaced one of the motors this year. There's 3 of them that we need to replace, so we're trying to replace 1 a year. Painting of the slides, we've done that once, but it's time to do that again. Pool lift, we had a pool lift at the outdoor pool. We've moved it to the indoor, so we have 2 pool lifts now in the pool area, so people have more access. They just don't have access to the shallow area. They have access into the lanes. So we've been asked to do that, so we're doing that. We're going to backfill that outdoors pool lift with one at the aquatic center. And then floatables, that's what I was getting to. These are floatables that we put out in the shallow part of the water, so parents with young families, young kids can get in and play on these floatable equipment, and it's kind of a neat thing. And we'll probably do that some off hours that we weren't open. And these are able to be moved indoors, so we can use them in the indoor pool for different activities and things. This is something Jess and Joel were hopefully was going to stay in the budget. So. Aquatic Center, 12 years old. So again, be thinking you'll probably hear from us in the near future. changing out a slide, adding the slide. I know we've had that in the budget, but it's probably time to really consider what we need to do to bring some people in, even if it's not another membership, but just several days out of the year to get a few more kids and people in there.
Well, it's about 3 more years it's paid off. You know, there's only about 3 payments left.
Two or three, yeah. Anything else with the aquatic center? Okay, cemetery. I had a lot of compliments on how wonderful this looked at Memorial Day weekend and moving forward. Great staff down there, really compassionate. They're trying hard, doing a great job, assisting with the funeral services at the cemetery, and they maintain the grounds and buildings. Carolyn, she would definitely, with the building and some of the help you wanted, you'd say the staff was very
All
helpful.
the staff is great, yeah.
So we appreciate that hard work that they do. Revenue really, varies with grave openings and closings a little bit. The sale of lots one year. If we go and announce we're going to raise lots, we'll get a bunch of people to come in and buy them right before they go up. So, but something we're going to look at this next year. Greg always tells me that. Yeah,
I did.
he got his bought before the rates went up. But 100 grave openings a year is kind of what we average through the year. So a few more cremations. That's one of the things. Full burial, open burial costs more than a cremation, and we're starting to see about 30% in cremations. So as that starts to happen more, we'll have to look at our revenue costs to hopefully offset that. But quite a few cremations. Really, the expenses pretty much the same. Mowers, trucks, and trailer, rear discharge mower. So that's the cemetery. Those are our main 6 areas that we oversee. I can answer any of those general questions to begin with. If anything else.
The only thing I get on the cemetery once in a while is people from out of town trying to find a family member, and
Yeah.
there's no directory.
There's no directory. Working on that. We are, I'm guessing, but I'm gonna guess say we're about 65% of the way there. Hats off to Deb. She's been a trooper helping the software program that we're trying to put in. We had 19,100 individual plots that need to get put into this program. We were hoping that we could take the software that Pontum is the system we have now, bring it over, Pontum over to the new software. Pontum doesn't want to give their information because we didn't go with them. We own the stuff, but to send it, so each one is being entered, and Deb's been working and scanning and doing stuff, a lot of hours with that. And when we were going over some stuff, we got the bulk of it, but now it's just verifying Greg and Judy Schreck are in lot 8. We're not doing every single one, but if the Schrecks have 10 spots, okay, there's 10, yep, that all looks good. Taking those big chunks of names, making sure those are all good, then we feel like we'll have a good base to go from. So we go back to the software provider, say, it looks like we have everything. And it could be, as we move in, we'll find a few errors here and there, but overall, we'll have that system that we can put on our website, Carroll City Cemetery, boom, here's grave discovery, click on it, Wardell, and yeah. So we're close. I would anticipate the next 6 months it'll be live. Hopefully 6 weeks, but I don't want to be too hopeful. In Austin, he's been working hard. I know it entailed a lot more than what I think he thought, because we're paying like $2,900, and he's earned it. So and Deb's been amazing. So.
board's gonna have a lot of time on their hands.
You're done, Jack?
I'm done. If you
Okay,
want-
nobody else has any questions for Jack? Mike, we were talking, yesterday, and one of the things that I brought up was about the library stuff on Monday, about refinancing that stuff, and Mike we kind of talked about it several months ago. There was a lot of savings that were involved, so I think you just wanted to share that with the group tonight, so that everybody knows and understands. And then, we'll discuss what we wanna do maybe to finish, get, Randy done, and then the administrative part, either like next Monday or next Tuesday or following Monday, so. I'll let Mike start with the library.
Yeah, so I know it came up a little while ago, and then it came up again Monday night. So when we took out the bonds on the library, that was library, city hall, trails, lighting, pickleball. So there's a number of projects we wrapped into that bond issuance. Rates at that point were 3.35%. Today, market actually, as of yesterday, from Suzanne, is 1.68%. So they have dropped. We would, if we look to refinance those today, and we hit market, it would be about $282,666 after all of our costs, or about 9.36% savings, total savings over what we pay principal and interest. And interest costs you save about 50%. Assuming that you would have a market timing of the rate to go up 0.25%, then that would drop to 230,446 or 7.64%. I think one of the balancing acts that we've talked a little bit about is, when this was put together, in a normal issuance, you would see a bond have be callable after about a 5 to 7 year period. Going and working with our local banks on this, we actually have just a 30-day call. So I mean, we could refund these bonds at any point in time. The balancing act is obviously we have relationships. I know the banks put a lot of work to put this together, and I know there's a little bit of heartburn about, they'll be the first to admit we should have put a call period in there, but it's one of those things you have to balance. Is the savings worth any relationships you have?
When I've talked with Mike, he and I look at that, the banks, the local banks went out of their way really to kind of help us. And I don't want to burn that bridge if we have to do it again. I see there's a lot of savings, but at the same time, in maybe another year or two, come back and look at this. But I don't know. That's why I kind of bring it to the council, let you guys hear what's going on, what we looked at, and some of the figures that he had found, some of the discussions that he had. And I think I don't think you decide anything, but I think just information. So.
I think they did us a great service. We probably would never went forward with the library project without this.
Right.
And I'm with you. Yes, there is a savings, but
What's the long-term savings for now? I mean,
but there's a number of different banks, right?
There's 5 banks.
Okay, so all 5 of them are kind of not wanting us to prepay, or is it doesn't make, maybe we could do the ones that are okay with it and the ones that are a little testy with it, we leave alone.
I think it's all or nothing.
Yeah, I would have to talk to bond council. I don't know.
I'm on the same page. I think there's something to be said for the value coming back to the community also, and the interest being paid and coming back to some of our local institutions.
Most likely all those banks committed to this project financially also privately.
The one thing that I look at is they get their capital back right away. Then they get some interest. Not as much as they anticipated, but now they have their capital back and they can go do with what they want. But it's that subjective
Nothing.
part of, hey,
Is there something to stop us from giving them back more than they expected? I mean, that would be unprecedented,
What
or
would
what?
be the public purpose?
right.
I don't know, it'd be to save money and still keep a good relationship.
Yeah, I still wanna, still wanna maintain that relationship as close as we could with them. You never know what, another project that would come up, I think,
How many years?
It was a
15.
With the banks too?
And we're barely in the, we're just past year. So we've had
They do it very quickly for us, they were, I mean,
Right.
they had to meet a deadline, we were,
It's too early to do
Yes.
anything about this.
That's fine.
And it was really packaged, I mean, this allowed us, because of the litigation,
Right.
allowed us to bypass it. We otherwise would have been subject to.
It's still got a favorable rate, on top of it.
Yes, and and if you look at the yield curve, we unfortunately closed at the top. It was ticking up,
Mhm.
and then literally the next week it started declining again. We just bought it. Market timing was bad for us on this.
but I think you can see it as a kind of a reverse investment, they invest in us.
Right.
We need to,
That's kind of,
Yes.
mull it around, and that's kind of where I get to is for now.
And some of it's the cost of the litigation that we're into too.
And I think there's also the perspective of, if we would have went through a normal sales route, we would have had a 3.35 rate regardless, and we would have been locked for 5 to 8 years. We just had a unique situation here where we didn't have a lock. But
Well, there was a savings that we realized too, because the way we negotiate not having to put it out to market too, wasn't it?
yes,
Yeah, the fees, I think, right?
underwriting fees.
Underwriting fees.
we did have to do the ranges call, we ended up paying a higher rate, but the two offset each other.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on it, but
And we will, and I think all the banks, as the conversations I've had with them, I think it's more like, get through year 2 or 3, come back and talk with us. They understand that there's a business decision.
That's kind of where I was too, and that's, yeah. But it was information that I had him dig up, I think it's, so everybody else knows what's going on. So we see.
nice job of transparency.
With that, it's 8:20, so what I'm, unless you, so our agenda isn't too bad next Tuesday. We could maybe finish that up in maybe an hour, hour and a half, and be done by 8 o'clock maybe next Tuesday, and that way we're done. If that's okay with everybody, or come back on February 3rd for an hour and a half. I'm willing to stay that extra night and just get it done, and then we're good. Because we have Randy left and then the administration part, basically 2 parts.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, what are you proposing?
So, finish the remainder of the budget meeting after the council meeting on Tuesday. Or just have our council meeting on Tuesday and then come back February 3rd to finish the remainder of the budget.
What's our deadline? February 3rd is coming up. How close do we have to?
That's probably about it.
That'd be about right. Yeah.
We have it laid out where we can do,
One more after that.
we actually could do 2 more workshops we have scheduled with you guys. Do you wanna do a little bit of Randy tonight, or do you wanna hold on?
I think some are ready. I mean, we quit about this time Monday night, so now you can go home and chill a little bit, maybe have a cup of coffee if you want. But if we're about 8:15 tonight, I bet we'd be done by 8:15 on Tuesday, and then we're done.
Because all you need to do is go to the agenda, it's just so the agenda, which we're within that window to do.
Yeah. As that hasn't gone out yet.
So before that,
Right.
and not meet the third.
Then we wouldn't have to meet on the 3rd,
Oh, okay,
correct?
Correct,
oh,
if we get it through.
If we can get it through on that, and then
wait,
it's done.
That's
That's good.
whatever, if that's amenable to everybody. Okay. Thank you. If there's nothing else, then, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that motion.
There's a motion and a second, we'll go ahead and vote.
Seaman,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Fleischner,
Yes.
Cots,
Yes.
Base.
Yes.
We are adjourned.